Hello everyone. After watching the video One Language, Three Accents, UK versus USA versus Australian English by World Friends, I learned a lot about how English can sound very different depending on where the speaker comes from. The two accents that stood out the most to me were the American accent and the Australian accent. Although both speakers were speaking English, their pronunciation was noticeably different. For example, in the word water, the American speaker pronounced the T more like a soft D, sounding similar to water. The Australian speaker also changed the T sound, but ending sounded different because Australian often pronounce more like A. Another interesting example was the word vitamin. The American speaker said vitamin, while both the British and Australian speakers said vitamin. This shows that even common words can have different pronunciations across English-speaking countries. I also noticed some vocabulary differences. When discussing apartment, the Australian speaker mentioned that Australians usually say unit instead of apartment. This demonstrates that English is not only different in pronunciation but also in word choice. In terms of speaking style, I found the American accent to be very clear and expressive. The speakers even mentioned that Americans tend to use more mouth movement when speaking. In contrast, the Australian speaker explained that Australians often speak more from the throat and move their lips less. I thought this was a very interesting observation because it affects how the accent sounds. The easiest accent for me to understand was the American accent. I think this is because I am more familiar with it through movies and some series, and also the pronunciation sound clearer and more familiar to me. While the most difficult one for me was the Australian accent. Although I still understand it, some words sound less different because of the different vowel sounds. For example, the Australian pronunciation of words like water and duty sound quite different from what I usually hear. One important insight I gained from this video is that English is truly a global language. People from different countries can communicate successfully even when their accents, pronunciation patterns, and vocabulary differ. This video also shows that there is no single correct English accent. American, British, and Australian English are all valid because they all varieties of the same language. Understanding different English is important because it helps us communicate with people from around the world. If we only listen to one accent, we may have difficult to understanding others in real-life situations. Overall, this video helped me appreciate the diversity of English and remind me that language can unite people even when it sounds different from place to place. Thank you very much for watching and goodbye.